And Major Garrett joins us now from the White House. Major, we're going to get to Theresa May's visit in a minute, but let me begin with that very rocky rollout of this proposed border tax with Mexico. What can you tell us about why that unfolded the way it did yesterday?
Well, it wasn't a rollout, it was a fumble out. I mean, they didn't have anything together in terms of what they wanted to say about their own policy. And as soon as they did say something about it, there was immediate blowback from Republicans on Capitol Hill. Republican congressional leadership staff was saying, wait a minute. We've been looking at this general issue of a border tax or some sort of adjustment in import or export taxes for a long time within the context of tax reform. That's a separate issue. It's not going to be a part of specifically financing construction of the wall. And within a couple of hours, the White House was backpedaling as rapidly as it could from things it said on its own behalf. So it was just a bungled effort to try to explain something that, in the end, this White House knows Congress, led by Republicans, are going to be the, if not ultimate arbiters of, a very significant voice. They were not coordinating. They hadn't coordinated any of their comments about this. And by the end of the day, what the White House had said about its own approach to paying for the wall was essentially meaningless, and it was put in the context of, well, there are lots of things we're looking at, lots of different ideas. So we went from specific to incredibly vague within a matter of hours.
Major, meanwhile, the president will host British Prime Minister Theresa May today at the White House. You've been reporting on how this meeting came about. What can you tell us?
Well, it was interesting. During the transition time, Jared Kushner, a senior White House advisor and the son-in-law of President Trump, and Steve Bannon, a senior White House advisor, as transition members, met with the British Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson. And it was in that meeting at Trump Tower in New York where the British government picked up that, in fact, President Trump, or soon-to-be President Trump, was in fact as economically nationalist as his campaign rhetoric suggested. That encouraged the British government to be, let us say, a little bit more aggressive about pursuing Brexit, that is the removal from the European Union, and doing that on a more emphatic and rapid pace. That is sort of the backdrop for the meeting here, and Theresa May, the British Prime Minister, to fill in the gaps that will be created economically by the British government leaving the European Union, wants to replace that, or at least counterbalance it, with a bilateral trade agreement with the United States. That's topic one here at the White House. Other related topics, the future of NATO and the future of the European Union in general.
Major, you also confirmed that this morning President Trump will be speaking on the phone with Russian President Vladimir Putin, German Chancellor Angela Merkel, and French President François Hollande tomorrow. What can you tell us about those calls, what we can expect to hear from the White House after they're completed?
Well, the Putin government in Moscow made the first official declaration that this phone call would take place. The White House then subsequently confirmed that the phone call would occur on Saturday. Then, within a very short period of time after that, the White House let me know, and I was able to report first, that there would also be these additional phone calls to French President Hollande and the German Chancellor Merkel. That is quite clearly designed to, let us say, broaden the diplomatic outreach on Saturday. So it's not just a story about President Trump and Vladimir Putin on the phone, but also two significant U.S. allies in Europe, Germany and France. That's also an effort and an opportunity for the president to convey to Chancellor Merkel and President Hollande exactly what he talked about with Theresa May, the British Prime Minister, here, because both of those leaders are extremely interested in the U.S.-British perspective on the future of the European Union and NATO.
All right, Major Garrett at the White House for us. Thank you, Major.
Sure.